Hello everyone. Are you an aspiring researcher who is trying to publish your research in high-impact factor journals? Do you have a manuscript in hand but success still eludes you when it comes to publishing it? Hello everyone. Are you an aspiring researcher who is trying to publish your research in high-impact factor journals? Do you have a manuscript in hand but success still eludes you when it comes to publishing it? Would you like to hear some tips and pointers for scientific writing from those researchers who have walked that path to publication several times? Well, you are here at the right destination. We at the ICMR National Institute of Epidemiology in Chennai are rolling out an online course for scientific writing in health research for researchers in health and allied health sciences. ICMR NIE is a pioneer in offering online courses in epidemiology and public health. The institute has a research output of hundreds of scientific publications every year. This course is the third in the series of the NIE ICMR E-Certificate or the NICER courses. This course, Scientific Writing in Health Research, will provide an overview of steps and principles for organizing your manuscript logically and sequentially within a structure. It will also provide knowledge about do's and don'ts in the scientific publication process. This course has to its credit a team of eminent instructors who are faculty members at the ICMR NIE. They have been conducting epidemiological and public health research for over 2 decades. Through this course, they share their rich experience gained from publishing in high-impact factor national and international journals. To suit your learning needs, the course has a combination of lectures, demonstrations, handouts, and a vibrant discussion forum that will enhance your learning experience. It is the researcher's responsibility to communicate his or her research findings effectively to the larger scientific community. Irrespective of the stage of our careers that we find ourselves in, there is always scope to improve our scientific writing skills and style. So come join us and play the publishing game right. Welcome.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Manikam. I work as a scientist at the Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Manikam. I work as a scientist at the National Institute of Epidemiology. I welcome you to this course on scientific writing in health research. As a first session, we are going to see what is meant by an argument matrix, which is a framework to organize the ideas within the structure of a manuscript. The objectives of this session are to articulate the contents of a manuscript by its sections in terms of introduction, methods, results, and discussion, and also by ideas that you want to convey. We would like to introduce through this session organization of these ideas by its section through a template called argument matrix. Usually, the starting points for a manuscript are as follows. 1. You have products of the analysis, which could be 5 tables and figures, and you have key points and recommendations spelled out, maybe in an abstract that was written immediately after the work was completed for a conference or a presentation among faculty members. You have a slide set or you have a poster wherein lies an outline of the argument that you want to convey, and you may have few ideas that you want to wrap around for developing the manuscript. There are common roadblocks in writing or preparing the manuscript. The first set of roadblocks are related to the structure. There are issues relating to respecting the structure of a manuscript. This could include misplacing the elements. For example, you write results in the discussion section or interpret the facts in the result section. There could be another set of issues relating to ideas. You are not writing in a sequential manner, or you are missing the links while developing and conveying an idea. Therefore, we would like to present an argument matrix, which is a framework that respects the structure of the sections and also make sure you develop the ideas, preferably few of them, logically and sequentially, so that your roadblocks are overcome and you have a neat framework that prepares you to make sure you outline the manuscript. The structure is usually referred to as IMRAD structure, and that stands for Introduction, Methods, Results and Discussion. It also includes key appendices in terms of an abstract, 5 tables and or figures, which is the maximum allowed in majority of the journals, and references. The IMRAD structure respects what is known as Bradford-Hill's questions for any research. Introduction section addresses why did you start this study at all, and method section addresses what did you do, and result section explains what did you find, and discussion section spells out what does it all mean to the reader, and therefore what do you make of it. Let's quickly look at the parts of these sections one by one. Introduction zooms in from a very broad general information related to the topic to specifically on the knowledge gap that needs to be addressed as part of the study. It provides information that justifies why this study needs to be done, and it usually ends with the statement of objectives. The second section is in terms of methods. It actually a blueprint of what was done in this study in simple terms. Therefore, it provides key information on the type of study, the definitions employed, the sampling strategy used, the sample size that was calculated, data collection methodology and the analysis plan, and also ethics in terms of respecting human participants. You may use for a diagrammatic illustration to summarize this information as well as part of method section, which is recommended as part of some of the guidelines to report scientific work. The result section is usually in terms of describing findings in simple terms. It's all about data. It's all about facts and figures as they are. You need to describe the information in tables and figures as captions. You do not interpret whatsoever in this section. Therefore, it is all about explaining or describing main trends and exceptions as it appears in your tables and figures from the manuscript. Discussion section usually has a structure, which is something we need to respect. It has 4 parts. The first part or first paragraph is all about summarizing the finding without repeating or without bringing in quantified results again. Therefore, this section addresses what was found without numericals attached to it. The second section is about what can be said. So therefore, you need to convey your ideas one by one in a first paragraph or a second paragraph and maybe a third paragraph in terms of what can be said about these findings in the context of what is already known in the literature. The third section is in terms of what cannot be said, usually things that prevent you from saying so. The fourth section on the basis of the concluding and recommending in terms of what do you make of the findings thereof. The discussion section bridges the evidence in terms of the next steps that are required in taking action. As such, the results only provide facts, numbers, estimates and parameters. These need to be integrated with each other and with the external information sources, basically from the literature in terms of references, to yield a conclusion that leads to recommendations. Therefore, the discussion section serves as a bridge that builds the main argument of the paper between the results and the conclusion thereof. This bridge is the interpretation or interpretations of the evidence in the light of what is already known in the literature and outlines what remains to be known. This process will be replicated for the 2 or 3 key ideas from the study. Finally, let's look at the life cycle of an investigation and see how the IMRAD structure can be used while reporting the findings. Introduction, includes identifying data needs, spelling out research question, formulating study objectives. And the next section of methods takes care of how you plan the analysis and what data collection instruments you used in making sure the data is collected as per the plan. The results section reports what was analyzed as per the data that was collected, and discussion section reports conclusions and recommendations, and also how we need to take this research forward in terms of involving stakeholders, and if any new research question that was identified, that is also flagged at the end of the discussion section. Now let's look at the ideas that needs to progress in these various sections. Linear construction is what we recommend to follow one idea throughout the manuscript. The idea has to progress between all the sections. That's the plan. For example, it's a linear construction in terms of taking what was known before and what is the local context in the introduction section, to what methods were used to generate findings to know what was unknown, and then you report the figures and facts in terms of what was found, and then make sure you integrate all these facts and figures and making a case for what you think needs to be said in terms of conclusion and also in terms of action through a recommendation. Therefore, the idea has to flow throughout the manuscript, cutting across all the sections. Here is an example of how one of the ideas follow linear construction throughout the manuscript. You can see that the introduction section spells out why boosters are important for long-term diphtheria protection, and therefore the method section spells out what was done to collect information on to what extent the booster doses were working against diphtheria, and also to what extent the booster doses were given in that particular community. The results are reported in terms of what is the productive efficacy of that booster dose and also the coverage for the booster dose in that area. Discussion section argues how booster coverage is related to the rates of diphtheria that are reported in that setting, therefore reiterating the importance of increasing the booster coverage. The conclusion makes a case why boosters are important for those who are not protected and recommends supplemental activities to make sure we reach the unreached in terms of increasing the booster coverage. So there is an idea that flows throughout the manuscript in a linear fashion. We are now going to present a matrix that respects the structure and also helps us in conveying the ideas in a linear fashion within the manuscript. This is the argument matrix template that we propose that can be used to articulate the ideas. On the left hand side you see the ideas, on top you see sections. So the rows represent each of those ideas and the columns represent each of the sections, starting from introduction to recommendation section of the discussion. So you can see in the template the row respects the direction that was used to construct the ideas developed as a logical linear construction. For example, idea number 1 flows through introduction, methods, results, and then points that are made in the discussion section, limitations, conclusion, recommendation. So also the rest of the ideas. So this is the direction that we use to construct the ideas, make sure the linear construction is followed. However, when the paper is read by the reader will see how they proceed from introduction to methods, results, the points that are being made in the first paragraph of the discussion, limitation, conclusions, and recommendation. Therefore, making sure the reader captures the ideas that are being conveyed in each of the sections and then make sure the reader understands and finally makes effective use of the paper, conveying those ideas until the recommendation is made. The argument matrix can be used in two ways. It can be used for a primary purpose of developing a manuscript afresh. Therefore, it can be started at the start point itself. It can be also used to rehash or reorganize a draft that needs to be rescued because the ideas are misplaced or sections are not respected. The primary preparation is in terms of organizing our ideas before drafting the manuscript. you make sure in consultation with your co-authors and maybe a mentor or the HOD or professor, make sure you are in agreement with the ideas that are going to be conveyed in the manuscript. Those ideas or the points are laid out in the argument matrix so that it respects both sections and the ideas flow through logically and sequentially. The secondary purpose for which the argument matrix can be used is in terms of reorganizing the ideas in a manuscript that is not in a good shape. It has the ideas that are not clearly spelt out, it has misplaced elements, therefore we need to rescue this manuscript. So the argument matrix is effectively used to make sure we spell out the ideas, prepare a matrix, and then make sure within the manuscript we highlight the identified elements that belong to these key ideas that we have spelt out, and make sure each ideas are belonging to the elements that are necessary for each of the sections, and then make sure we rearrange the manuscript and make sure the holes are fixed in the matrix. Therefore, we use the matrix and then rewrite or redraft the manuscript. Argument matrix therefore provides a two-way understanding of the articulation of the ideas in a manuscript. It is very useful from the very beginning of drafting a manuscript, or you may use it to rescue or recover ideas from a disorganized manuscript. Thank you very much.
So we'll now start discussing about how to write the introduction part of your manuscript. Okay. So the objective of this session is that write the introduction of the article, which is your manuscript. If you see this, the research life cycle, you can clearly see that it starts from identifying the data needs till to the dissemination of the findings, where it will again identify the data needs and the cycle flows on. My previous speakers would have told the same way how the research cycle goes on, and it clearly reflects the way that you are communicating to your audience what actually your scientific study means it. The classical way of communicating your scientific study is writing a manuscript, and in this writing the manuscript, it also travels the same pathway of the research cycle. And this particular session, I will be focusing very clearly about writing the introduction part of it. When I say writing the introduction part of it, it contains three major parts. The first part is about identifying the data needs and as well as spelling out the research question. It originates from that particular part of the research cycle, and it ends, the introduction ends with formulating the study objectives and writing it clearly. So we will be discussing that while you are writing the introduction part of the manuscript, how you are converting these processes of the research cycle into a communication of why this is very, very important. The same Bradford's Hill questions about a particular research. Why did you start this research? What did you do while doing this particular research? And what did you find that? And what does it all mean? All these questions has to be answered in your scientific communication, especially the classical IMRAT format captures these questions, is try to answer these questions, and when you are communicating it, you have to answer the same. So if you see the introduction, methods, results and discussion, the introduction part and should answer the question, why did you start this particular research? So that is what you have to communicate. And manuscript being a scientific communication, you need to clearly make it sure that you are communicating to the audience that what made you to start this particular topic, why you are so interested, is it really important, and how that is going to lead to the next part of the manuscript. So the clear linkage has to be there. So when we say communication, these linkages matters a lot. So that's why the classical mistake which we usually do are, very classically they say, the immediate turn off of a scientific manuscript is starting like, disease X is a global public health problem. It is not the right way to do that. The best way to start is that disease X is the, say, the 10th leading cause of the mortality of all causes of death. This is the right way of saying that. So you can start either mentioning about the way it ranks, that this is really important, or by some means of a numeric or an indicator to make the audience feel this is an important problem. That's why you have chosen that. And when we say there are certain do's and don'ts while writing the introduction part of the manuscript, let me first say what are the important do's. Okay. The manuscript, in the introduction part of the manuscript, always have a zoom in, which means I classically say it is a funneling down approach. General to a specific, broader to the narrow, the most important part of this particular manuscript. So basically you are trying to build the most important communication objective. You are trying to revolve around the message in your manuscript. Second, the introduction part should critically review what is known and what is unknown. This is very important because you need to have a sufficient knowledge and understanding about this particular subject by reviewing the literature, by knowing what are all the scientific facts about this particular area of interest where you are conducting this research, and you are building it slowly in your manuscript writing, that bridging that these are all the facts which I know, these are all the facts which I don't know. That's why I try to answer in this particular gap an element of it. You are flagging this gap. That's the most important part, drives attention to a particular reader. And make this flow very natural, not hard stop like that, so that you are trying to tell the study has to be done, and that's what I did this particular study, which is going to answer this particular unknown gap. And always end the introduction part with the objective and document all the facts which you are trying to say in the manuscript, either the known facts or some of the unknown facts with due references. There are most important don'ts in the introduction. What are all the don'ts? The mistakes. So I always say that when you say the mistakes, these are all noise, distractions for a reader. In a scientific communication, when you write endlessly, filling the pages, for example, some 3 or 4 paragraphs of 20 or 30 lines about describing that, yes, for example, hypertension is a problem, hypertension causes this is the most important, crucial public health problem. Again and again talking the same message will not drive the reader to have an attention. And also these are all distractions. That's the most important common mistakes which has been happening while writing the manuscript. The second is that undocumented statements. Most important part here, a manuscript is a scientific communication. When we say scientific communication, this should be based on facts, which means you are very much sure when you whatever you are going to state a line or a statement in that. Never ever have your own kind of an assumed opinions in that. That's undocumented statements will cause lot of noise. Third, focus exclusively on burden of the diseases. Basically, epidemiologically, scientifically, it is better to state the burden of diseases with the classical indicators, either in terms of mortality or in terms of morbidity. When you say in terms of morbidity, you can take the indicator of the prevalence, and if it is a classical acute event, you can term it with an incidence, or if you are very much sure that this is the most important cause of death, you can say by means of mortality indicators. That's another important thing. Then review the literature too much of details. That means whenever you are going to say about a particular fact, you no need to bring all the facts you know or 10 or 15 references telling the same facts again and again. It is a big noise. The most important problem is plagiarism. So cut and copy paste from previous article, even though it is a known fact, is generally not recommended and it is discouraged. And providing excessive irrelevant historical details from multiple other facts also, it is totally unnecessary. Saying that, for example, when you want to talk about a particular infectious disease, start from the history of the infectious disease, a particular infection, is not going to help a lot. The effective way of writing an introduction is, as said by already, that it is a zoom in approach or funneling down approach, broader to narrow and to be very specific. So I'm just giving a kind of a suggested guideline here how you can structure your paragraphs. For example, the first part of that your introduction can tell about what is known and unknown of that particular area of interest. The area of interest can be a disease, the area of interest can be a clinical condition, or the area of interest can be a collection of diseases or the syndrome. And these elements should make it properly with the due facts, and why this is very important, this will give you a clarity. The second part of your introduction can be spelled out that why this is very important in your region. When you say dengue is a global public health problem, and when you want to say that this is one of the leading cause of the vector-borne diseases, but in your region, why this is important, that you have to bring this specific part of it, why you did this particular study on this area in your specific location or a geographical location. Next is local representation of this issue. When you are conducting this in a, say, like tertiary care setting, then you need to say that this much number of cases, this much number of complications have been faced by your clinical setting or at your tertiary care hospital setting. Then you can spell it out why, what made you to really think about this particular problem. And finally, the objectives of the study. So we will have a detailed discussion in the forthcoming lecture that what actually this is going to connect to the methods part of it, and as well as results, and finally to the discussion. So I give some examples of writing a very good introduction. Say this is by Watson and Crick. They published in Nature in 1953. It's an award-winning introduction. You can say that I'm just reading out. We wish to suggest a structure for the salt of deoxyribose nucleic acid. This structure has novel features which are of considerable biological importance. That's it. It clearly says the intention, why this is very important, and what is the objective of presenting this particular structure, and what are all the importance of while doing this in the forthcoming. It just in 2 sentences, it brings out a lot of clarity. A recently published article, say like in JAMA, I'm just giving this another example. I'm not going to read entirely. This is a very good example I have seen recently. It has the same elements which I had discussed, which tells about the known and the regional issue of most important part here is myocarditis. Why myocarditis is important? And then it brings about an unknown local issue, which is recently mRNA vaccination have been introduced against COVID-19. While introducing that, what are all those effects of this particular vaccinated individuals leading to myocarditis? And then they link it to an objective that they are presenting a case series to develop those who have developed probable hypersensitivity myocarditis, and they are trying to explain the clinical features in this paper. It's a very classical way of telling about the broader to the specific simpler, where it is going to be broader to the specific funneling down approach. The take home message for writing an introduction is that introduction explains why you started this research, number one. Number two, it needs 4 important sentences linked to number one, background of this issue. Number two, gap in the knowledge of this particular issue. Number three, the research question, why actually you did this, and it should have the linkage with the study design of your research. Thank you.
Hello all, I'm Dr. Sendil Kumar, working as a scientist at ICMR National Institute of Epidemiology. In this session, we are going to cover referencing using Zotero. Zotero is one of the reference management tool. So we need to know what are the key functions are. Hello all, I'm Dr. Sendil Kumar, working as a scientist at ICMR National Institute of Epidemiology. In this session, we are going to cover referencing using Zotero. Zotero is one of the reference management tool. So we need to know what are the key functions or uses of any reference management tools before entering into Zotero. So reference management tools are used to collect and organize your references, generating the citations and bibliographics from the collected references, and You can convert or change your referencing styles based on your journal requirements. Those who are working in the research field know that already available reference management tools like EndNote, Mendeley and Zotero. These are the widely used reference management tools in the research field. In this session, we are going to cover only Zotero. In the coming slides, we will see what is Zotero and its key functions, how to download and install Zotero, component and key functions of Zotero, create and managing a library, how to import the data from other sources and export the data to some other websites or applications, how to create a in-text citations in MS Office or MS Word, how to create a reference list or bibliographics, how to create a group library to work with your colleagues or co-researchers. So what is Zotero? Zotero is a free and open source application. It's a reference management tool and it's used to manage your all bibliographic data, and you can integrate with the web browser. You can do the online syncing also. You can generate in-text citations using Zotero. The Zotero's following key functions like any other reference management tools. You can collect your relevant research documents from various sources. You can organize it by creating a separate folders for each project. You can cite it. You can sync with your online. You can collaborate with your co-researchers. The first and foremost important thing is we need to download and install Zotero to use all its features. How to do that? Like any other softwares, go to Google search, type zotero.org/download. Now you see that there are two options. One is Zotero 5.0 for Windows, another one is Zotero connector. The Zotero for Windows is application, that's a software. Just click the download button. The application will be downloaded. Like any other software, you install it by clicking next, and finish it. It will be stored in your C drive and you can see the icon in your desktop. The another one is Zotero connector, that's extension. Once you install, you can see in your bookmarks, it will appear in right upper corner of your web. There is one more option called login. In the previous slides, we say that we can do syncing with your online. So to do that, we need to create an account. Give your basic details. You can create an account. Once you install your Zotero, just click that button. The application will be opened. This is how we do like. There is no folder as of now because we not yet created anything here. It says welcome to Zotero. You can see the left one, the middle one and right one. We'll see one by one what is that. So we see that component and functions of Zotero. So the left panel is called libraries. It has all your folders. Each folder has your research project documents or dissertation documents, thesis documents or your working things. The middle one is called resources. It has all the relevant documents which you stored in your folder. The right side panel called metadata. It has the information of your articles. It has the information like title of your article, author's details, the publication here, like it has all the information of any relevant research documents. So if you are not created your account as we discussed in the previous slides, you can create your account here or you can log in. So that is useful to sync your all the relevant works with online. So to do that, just to go to edit, you see the left panel, you can see the edit option. Select preference option, then a box will be appeared. You can use a sync option, then write your username and the password, then click OK. So now you created account, you sync with your online one. In these slides, we are going to see some of the basic functions available in the Zotero. You see that file, edit, view and tools help options. The file, it has the following key functions. You can add new item, it may be articles or books. You can write small notes about that articles. You can create a new folder by clicking new collection. You can import the data from other sources. You can export the library also. Basic functions like cut, copy, paste, search or the preference can be done using that edit option. You can change the layouts and font size using that view, and you can install browsing connectors, add-ons under the tool section. Zotero's discussion forum also. If you have any queries, any doubts, you can discuss with the other peoples using the discussion forums, and you can download and the relevant documents from the help option. So far we know that how to download Zotero and install the Zotero. We know the basic components and the functions of Zotero. So once you downloaded, the next step is creating a library for your own project or own research. How to do that? Just to go, you see that a folder with a plus sign, just click that button, a box will be appeared like any other box. If you are using the system, you know that to create a folder, you see the symbol, just click that folder, you need to enter the title of the project or dissertation, like this you can do it here. If you enter your title, then click OK. You can see the left side, the panel, library panel, you can see your folder name. So once you created your folder, the next step is you need to import the data related to your research topics or dissertations. From where we can get the relevant documents. You can get data published articles from the databases like a PubMed, Google Scholars, Scopus, Web of Sciences, published research articles, web portals, websites, newspapers, news articles, blogs, PDF, etc. These are the common sources for your research studies. You can get the relevant articles from here. How to import the selected articles from here, from this databases or research articles, we will see now. So as all of you are aware that we already installed Zotero connector, that extension. Once you install that extension, you can see that bookmarks option, right side upper corner, you can see that set symbol, that is Zotero connector. So if you want to collect some relevant articles or information from the Google Scholar, say example, you want to collect some COVID-19 relevant articles. Entering COVID-19, you see the list of articles available in the Google Scholar. Import the first article. You see the citation icon below that article, the double comma mark. You see, click that one, a box will appear with different citation styles like APA, Vancouver and anything. Then below that, you can see the ref manage. That ref man is a reference management. It indicates the reference management. If you click that one, it will be saved in the reference management tool Zotero. There is one more option, that's using Zotero connector. You see, there is a Zotero connector icon in the right upper corner of your page. Just click that icon. It will ask what are the articles you need to include here in the box. You select the article by clicking the box and say OK, then it will be stored in your folder. So that is from databases. If it is from website, say example, if a WHO website you want to include in your references, you can see that again the Zotero icon. Just if you just open that your website, click that button and it will be stored in the Zotero folder. Maybe if it is from newspapers, you can do the same by just clicking the Zotero folder, it will be stored in your Zotero. So sometimes which you downloaded from databases or news articles or blogs may have some incomplete information. You can edit in the metadata panel. See, in the previous slides we have seen that in this Zotero it has 3 panels. The left side is called library, the middle one is called resources, the right one is called metadata. The left side it has all your research folders based on your dissertation or thesis. The middle one is resources, it has all the relevant articles related to your research projects. If you click any one article, you can see the information about that article in the right panel, metadata panel. It's article type, article title, author details, publications years, volumes, issues, and other relevant data. Here you can edit it. If you think that the article is wrong or there is some errors in that article title, you can edit here. Just to click that place, you can edit. You see that blue color, just you can edit it. If you want to change the author details also, you can edit it. If something wrong in the publication here, you can edit it. Apart from importing data from the databases, websites, or any magazines or any other sources, there is other way also. Say example, if you are working in a systematic review, you are finalizing your keywords and a search strategy. After that, you are downloading around 150 articles from the PubMed, and you want to import that 150 articles into Zotero. You can do that. Just go to File and select Import Options, and locate. If you click that import option, you can identify your file where you stored your all the articles. Then click that one, that all article will be uploaded here. At the same time, if you want to export your collection, the same example, if you are doing the systematic review, you want to export all your collection to the another application, maybe Ryan, you can do that one. Just select that folder, you can do the right click, you can see the export to collection option. Just click that one and it will be stored in where you want. After some times, if you are working in Zotero, you created many files, many folders, uploaded hundreds of articles. This is how the library would look like. You can see the left side, all your research folders. If you click any folder, it will show all that articles in the right side panel, metadata panel. Here the interesting things comes. So far we know what are the basic functions, how to create a library, how to import the data in the Zotero. Now we do that, how to do in-text citations in MS Word. In the coming slides, the next important part of Zotero is doing in-text citations in MS Word. First, we need to add word add-in to do in-text citation in MS Office. Just to go to Edit, select the preference, a box will appear, select the site and install MS Office Word in. Once installed, open your MS Office Word. You can see that Zotero tab here. There are some key functions in that if you click that Zotero, like add and edit citation, add and edit bibliography, document preference, a refresh button, and unlink citations. These all functions you can see under Zotero tab. The first thing is that you need to select your citation style. To do that, just click the document preference after Zotero clicking. Once you click the document preference, a box will appear with lot of citation styles. Select which citation style you want. Maybe it's a Vancouver, American Psychological Association, elsewhere, Nature. Select any citation styles for your research purpose. Then click OK. Here your document citation style will be stored here. So the next step is, if you are working in the manuscript, research papers or dissertations or thesis, anything, if you want to add your citations here, just go and select to add citation in your manuscript or research paper or a thesis or dissertation. Just click add and citation button. Once you click that button, a red color box will appear. You can type your research article title. Say example, if you are working on the COVID, you already created a folder, you uploaded or imported all your relevant documents in that folder. Select that folder, open your Zotero and select that folder, come to MS Office. Here just type that your title of the article. The articles will be appeared here. You can select any articles. That citation will be appear in your document. There is one more way. The same like Just go to click add and edit citations. You see the red color box will appear. You can see the small drop down box button just next to Zotero icon. Select the classic view. Once you select the classic view, it will go to your Zotero application. There is another way to add citations in your manuscript. Same like go to add and edit citation. The red color box will appear. You can see the small drop down button next to that icon. Just click that one. You can see the classic view here. If you click that classic view, it will go to your Zotero application. You can see the folders, your selected articles. You can see all here. Just select your folder, research folder. You can see all your research articles here. You can select single articles or multiple articles. Once you select the articles, multiple articles, you can see that articles in the right side boxes. Then select OK. That citation will be added in your manuscript. So once you added all your citations, we need to create a reference list. How to do that? Again, go to MS Office. There is one more option. We can see that add and edit bibliographic. Right? You can see it, right? Add and edit bibliographic. Just put cursor where you want to include your reference list. Then select add and edit bibliography. All reference list will be appear here. If you added 100 articles in your manuscript, you can see the 100 articles here. See, that's yellow color. That's we added that reference which we already cited in our manuscript. Apart from that, there are few more options like refresh and unlinked citations. The reference options, say example, if you're working in the manuscript, you're rearranging the articles, you entered wrongly, you cited wrongly, so you want to rearrange your order. So if you're rearranging the order, just click the refresh button, it will be ordered again. Once you finalize your manuscript or dissertation, if it is a manuscript you want to submit the journal, if it is a dissertation you want to submit to the college or universities, there is option called unlink here. That unlink used if you are submitting your manuscript to the journal or you are submitting your completed dissertation to the university or college, you can do the unlink. You can unlink your citation from the references. Once you did the unlink, you are no longer able to edit it. So make the decision very carefully. So there is other way also to create a reference list. So example, if you are working in the COVID-19, you created a folder, you collected all your reference materials or documents, books in that folder, saved all your documents in that folder. Just by doing a right click or selecting the all articles, you can see option is create bibliographic from that items. Select that items, check and you select your citation style and your bibliographic and select the bibliographic button. Select the format, which format you want to, maybe we select RTF format, then click OK. That folder will be saved in your location. So one more thing we discussed in the previous slides, group library. So example, your colleagues, your teammates or your colleagues, co-researchers working in the collaborative project, you want to share your Zotero library with your colleagues, you can share with them. So all of you can edit and work on the same manuscript or dissertations. To do that, first we need to create a folder. In the previous slides, we have seen that how to create a folder. Here we can see that how to create a new library, the group library. You see the next button, the next to folder button, just click that button, a box will appear, you can create a name. Then all your group library folders will appear below the folders. See that we already created a folder and you can upload all your relevant articles in that folder, you can share with your colleagues. How to do that one? As all of you are aware that we already created a account in Zotero. Go to online, use your username and password, enter into the online Zotero. You can see the online Zotero like this. that online Zotero will appear like this. The left again panel, it has all your folders. The middle folder, it has all your resources. The right panel, it has information about the articles. Here you can see the collaboration. You can collaborate with your colleagues. Now we see that practical sessions, how the Zotero look like and how to do in-text citation in MS Office. As we discussed during our sessions, we will see that how that Zotero application, the offline application will look like in your system. So once you download or install your application in the system, once you open that, you can see that three panels as we discussed in the slides. The left side panel is called library, the middle one is called resources, and the right side panel is called metadata. So I already synchronized using my username and password. So these all are my folders and my documents. So before that, we will see the what are the options available in the Zotero. So you can see that file option. Here you can add new item. It can be a journal article or book or any other document like a map or presentation. We can add anything in that, and we can write a small note of that articles also. By clicking new collection, we can create a new folder and we can import and export the articles also. Under the edit option, we can use the basic options like a cut, copy, paste. Now, apart from that, we can use these two options. One is advanced search and another one is preference. In the advanced search, if you select that one, you can see the title and the contents, and you can check your articles. If you type any Google, if you click, if you write something on that, you will find your article. The another option is called preferences. The preference we have discussed during our sessions also. There are two important things in the preference. One is sync, another one is citation style. The sync is that we can, using our username and password, we can sync with our online. So whatever we are working on that in the application, it will automatically update in the online also. So another one is citing your citation references, citation these styles. So I used Vancouver model. So based on your needs or based on your journals or thesis or dissertation, you can select any styles. So I select Vancouver for my style. Another option is view. You can change your layout and font size using this option. And another option is tools. In this tool, we can create a timeline and install browser connector and add-ons. There are help option also. Here, if you're facing any issues, we can get expert opinion using the discussion forums. They will reply you, and we can report some error also. These are the basic options of Zotero. Apart from that, there are some shortcuts like the file we use in that new collection option. So, but there is a shortcut also. Just clicking the new collection, you can create a new folder. Like if you just click that, another box will open. It will ask that your name, give name for this folder. Just if I give that in like a COVID, now folder will be created in the left panel. That's called a library panel. So you can bring all the relevant article in the folder. So you can see all the folder articles in the resource panel, and you can see the data about that articles in the metadata panel. So already I created an account. If this is my folder, I have so many articles under this folder. You can see all my articles in that. If you click any one article, you can see the data about that articles in the right side metadata panel. You can see the article journal is a journal article. You can see the item type, and you can see the title of that article. You can see the author list, abstracts, and the remaining data like the volume, issues, ISSN. You can see all the relevant data about that articles. So you can see left side, you can see the folders. The middle resource panel, you can see all the relevant articles in the folders, and you can see the data or each article information in the right side panel, metadata panel. And you can the left side below the lower corner, you can see that keywords. You can select, it's automatically will select, the keywords will be selected automatically.
You just clicking that keyword related to that article will be selected in your the resources folder.
Thank you.